The Trump administration is putting states on notice when it comes to the legalization of recreational marijuana. It is threatening to enforce federal marijuana laws even in states that have legalized the drug. Marijuana advocates are heeding the warning and preparing for what could be a long legal fight. The cannabis industry has become a multi-billion-dollar business. It's expected to create more jobs than manufacturing over the next few years and may prove difficult for the Trump administration to crack down on. Joining me now is Taylor West. She's the Deputy Director of the National Cannabis Industry Association, and Mark Lustig, CEO of Canna Royalty, the king of cannabis, I guess you'd say. Taylor, I want to start with you. I want to play some comments White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer made on Thursday about marijuana and get your reaction. Here he is.
I do believe that you'll see greater enforcement of it. Because, again, there's a big difference between the medical use, which Congress has through an appropriations rider in 2014, made very clear what the intent of what their intent was in terms of how the Department of Justice would handle that issue. That's very different than the recreational use, which is something the Department of Justice, I think, will be further looking into.
When you hear those words, do you think that they're going to have a chilling effect on your industry? Taylor?
Well, they're certainly disappointing to hear, given that they directly contradict what President Trump said multiple times on the campaign trail, which is that he believes marijuana should be a state-by-state issue and that the federal government shouldn't interfere. You know, it's also disappointing because it directly contradicts the values of economic growth and limited government that Republicans are supposed to embrace. You know, this is a small business-driven industry that's responsible for tens of thousands of jobs, billions of dollars in economic impact, and they're doing all of this while playing by the rules that are being set by state and local governments. So I think it would be a huge mistake on the part of the Justice Department to try to overthrow these voter-approved programs and send all of that economic impact back to criminals and cartels.
Well, as you mentioned, you know, the cannabis industry has become this economic powerhouse, producing thousands of jobs. Interestingly, attracting a lot of female executives. Why do you think that's the case?
You know, it's a new industry, so it doesn't have these built-in structures over generations that have tended to favor men simply for no other reason than because they were there first. There is a real opportunity here for women to come in on the ground floor. And when you have women in leadership positions, that tends to lead to more women in leadership positions. It's been a really exciting thing to see. And it's also something that this industry and the movement that helped create this industry has really made a priority in terms of advancing.
Mark, I want to bring you in here. The president has talked a lot about jobs. The cannabis industry has created thousands, as we've been saying. Is that enough, though, to really keep the administration off the backs of companies like yours?
I really think it is. I mean, the opportunities in the cannabis sector are endless. And keep in mind, I mean, this is a compound and a plant that was kept into the corners of society for a long time, and now not only is it a product that's generating a lot of interest from the public because it makes them feel better, much more so than alcohol or tobacco or other things, but it's also a plant that hasn't been able to be researched, and so the opportunities that are being exposed now through medical research into a compound that's much more efficacious in many ways than opioids or other pharmaceutical products is phenomenally attractive, especially from job creation. So I think it's only the beginning in terms of the economic impact of this plant and this sector.
Mark, if the Trump administration does pursue further legal action on this, how do you see this playing out?
Well, I sort of disagree with the other guest in terms of my understanding of what the administration commented on a few days ago, in the sense that I think what I heard was that they're going to focus on the types of things that I think all of us agree we don't want to have happen, like the wrong people getting the wrong compounds or the wrong types of products. Beyond that, I think that what I did hear in some other of the commentary was the acknowledgement that cannabis is effective, especially on the medical side. And so I think the first focus, rightly, should be on the transportation of cannabis across borders in the States and other types of things that are going on that are illicit. But I think, again, it comes back to a huge opportunity on the one side to help people feel better. And I think the public has spoken very clearly about how they feel about the cannabis sector. And on the other side, and very closely related, is the idea that you can create a lot of jobs and a lot of positive economic impact through this sector.
All right, Mark and Taylor, we're going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you both. That's it for more this hour, but up next, the new faces of the Democratic Party. Can they lead their fellow Democrats